Hey everyone, I'm Kayla Citron-Thaler, Partner Development Manager at Drata, and it's a pleasure to be here with you on the SDR Game podcast.
Kayla is here to share techniques on video prospecting through LinkedIn after selling over 5,000 videos, and now she's currently selling 200 videos per month. So if you're curious to learn more about video prospecting and improve your outreach results, this episode is a must listen. Welcome to the SDR Game podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and I'm here to help you speed up your sales career and build more pipeline. This is a podcast I wish I had when I started my journey as an SDR. Since diving into tech sales in 2018, I've been a top-performing SDR at 4 companies, and I've led SDR teams for the last 2 years. In today's conversation with Kayla, we talk about how to use effectively video in your outreach to book more meetings, what to use in your videos, what to say in your videos, and when do you send the video. Let's dive in. Kayla, could you share with us why you made the decision to start sending personalized videos at Drata?
Yeah, so this decision started in, I think, 2019. I was at Looker, and John Barros was at our SKO, and he mentioned Morgan Ingram, who was sending videos. And I thought, well, I had everything at the SKO, and that's all I remembered. So maybe it was a waste. But I came back and I said to my manager, Ryan, I said, hey, I'm going to try out video. Because in my eyes, I know that there's a lot of noise. And even back in 2019, there was a lot of noise to start with. Spray and pray was a big thing. And so I said, what can I do differently? And it started out with really scalable videos because I was reaching out to BI or companies that needed business intelligence. So this could be anywhere from a marketing leader to a BI leader to honestly anyone at a company that could use our software. And so I started out with scalable videos by persona, and that kind of worked. And then at a certain point, I had the idea, why don't I send personalized videos so someone realizes that this video is only for them? I don't remember when that change happened, but that's when I started to really see an increase in results. This was when I was at Looker. I paired with Jeff Garcia, one of the top performing reps, and he had Apple as an account, I think Walmart. And I said, can I help you try to break into Apple? And we tested this out, and I think I was able to book 6 meetings. And a lot of this was just off of personalized videos and opening up that door. So that's really the progression of where it's come from. But nowadays I send all personalized videos to get above the noise.
And actually, talking about that specifically, because you mentioned you started with BI leaders, and Drata, you are talking to security leaders also. That's super interesting to know that, because they are technical buyer personas, and it shows that videos and prospecting also works with them.
Yeah, and I think that's a piece is people say, oh, video doesn't work for my market, and maybe for some markets it doesn't. And someone may say a CISO is a bad CISO if they clicked on my video link. But at the end of the day, it's about doing something different. And I'll show an example, but I really like to create a GIF as the first piece of the video because it gets someone to say, ooh, what is that? Let me click. Something that's also really important to me is to let them know how long the video is going to be so they know their time investment. So they're not thinking, okay, Kayla sent me this 30-minute video. Let me click on this. I think also the other piece, which we're not going to talk much about, but having a presence on LinkedIn is really important because someone knows who you are. So that's something where I love to send videos on LinkedIn, and that's where I've seen the most success with video. And I think really building up your network and showing, hey, this is who I am, is really important to that. So someone's not saying, who's this rando who just sent me a video? They can look at my profile and say, okay, this is what Kayla's about.
Why LinkedIn specifically? Is it because of that? Is it because of that you can show also your personality via your profile? Because if we compare sending a video via email, did you get some success, for example, via email? Or is it because more about the brand that you can build on LinkedIn?
I haven't seen a ton of success over video on email. The big thing, and I know this is like a big theme this year, is open rates and spam. And in my eyes, I only send videos if I'm connected with someone for the most part. So if someone's accepted my connect, because that's kind of in my eyes, and probably not in everyone's eyes who I'm sending videos to, a kind of opt-in of saying, hey, yes, okay, I know you're connecting with me. Haven't seen a ton of success over email, so I just usually stick with what works and send those videos through LinkedIn. Because there is inbox noise on LinkedIn, but people can look at my profile, see who I am. And in my eyes, it's less risky in a way than email because it could just get lost somewhere. So generally, I see a lot more success on LinkedIn, and that's just where it's since I started sending videos where I've seen the most success.
Then I have another question, but here that's from the post we've shared on LinkedIn. So that's the first one is from Saleh Hindi. So he was asking, why does video work so well? Is it because buyers know what you are doing extra to personalize for them, or is there something about the video form factor?
Most people I talk to aren't getting a ton of video. It takes more effort. And so I think that's the one piece. I think it also shows your personality. So someone can see who you are. There was someone who reached out to me. I forget what company he was from, but he had said, like, you can't recreate your personality. Like, that's why video isn't necessarily scalable always. You have to have a good personality on video. And that's something I learned as an SDR manager is some reps do really well on the phone. Some reps do really well on LinkedIn. Some reps do really well over email. And video isn't going to do well for everyone. And so I think at the end of the day, right, it's not for everyone. It's finding what works, but you have to have a good video presence and really talk the way I was talking to you, right? Like this, and just having, even if you have a script, which in my mind, I always have a structure, which we can go over later, but always acting like it's not scripted because someone like you're doing something different, but it's the same because you're doing, and I know this is going to be one of the questions, is a scalable process for this. So basically I have a very similar structure, which we'll go into a little bit. And really all I'm doing is personalizing the beginning. The rest of the script is the same, but I believe it's important to personalize the videos. I know there are AI tools and they can be great, but for me, it would actually take me more time to find the link of where I wanted to record the video and then use the software in my eyes. Than just, hey, I'm going to record this video, send it off, record this video, send it off.
Two things. So if we talk about, I think now, I didn't see what you can do with the new tools with AI, but the first one I remember, I don't know if you got this one, but that was creepy actually, because that was, they were saying the same to everyone and you were just seeing the lips changing on the video. So but you could see that was a deep fake actually. And so I think now that's better. But didn't use the new tool, so I'm not going to give feedback on that. But why I think video works better than, for example, for something else. Here, what you said, I think one is you need to be obviously to have some practice also, because I imagine your first videos were are not the same that the one you're saying right now. But the second thing is like you are saying, now that I'm thinking, I'm still receiving a lot of messages from reps and you don't get a lot of relevant messages or personalized messages that and video. I don't get any videos. So it's sending a video, you are really like different than the rest, and also if you're really good at it, that's why I think it makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think it's also the piece, right? And this is another piece, is there's been a lot of layoffs recently, and if I was laid off, I would build a presence on LinkedIn, which I've already done. My whole goal is like never to be out of work. But the second piece is treating that job search like an SDR. So if I was to reach out to, let's say I got laid off, which I won't get laid off anytime soon and Gerald is doing really well. But if I did, I would send personalized videos to those SDR managers or whoever I wanted to work for and use that as something to say, hey, look, this is what I can do in my outreach and look how much value I can bring to your team. So I think video is really valuable in many aspects, and hopefully there's some people listening that are maybe were unfortunate to be part of layoffs, and that can hopefully be something they can integrate in their process to land a new role.
Actually, we already recorded an episode about, his name is Anand, and actually was sharing how he used video to get interviews with hiring managers. So definitely that's something you should try. So now let's focus on you specifically about your routine with recording videos, because something I want to understand is how much time do you spend on creation, or what's your process more? It's do you have like a session to prep your videos, or do you block an hour, you prep one video, then you record one, and then you do another one, or what's your process?
So generally, and this is nice for the industry I'm in because we're reaching out to companies that have SOC 2 and ISO and other frameworks. And so instantly I can do my research in my segment, because right now I've been working in like our strategic segment. But basically I can instantly say, does this company have SOC 2 or not? So that's
Okay.
my Insta research. If there's, let's say I'm working enterprise in the past and they don't have a SOC 2 or ISO and I'm working in a different industry, a lot of times you can look at their annual report and see what their priorities are and call something out and link that back. Generally, I'm doing that research up front. We use Outreach, and so a tool like that can really help because I'm putting my account notes in my layout, and then I can say, cool, anytime I reach out to a person at this account, I instantly know what am I referencing. All else fails, like there are people where I think a company is worthwhile and they don't have a SOC 2 or they don't have an ISO. I'll generally reference how long they've been at a company. At the end of the day, I think the first piece is a little less important. The second piece of speaking to their pain and having a call to action is really important. But this is the exact way I open cold calls is, hey, it's Kayla from Drata, whatever. I know you weren't expecting my call. Do you have 30 seconds? They say yes. Hey, reason for my call is I noticed you all have SOC 2 and ISO. I've been talking to other security leaders. They're mentioning frustrations around the manual work that goes into this. Curious what this looks like at company. So very similar in my calling and my video to get to that pain. And that's something that's really important, I think, is calling the frustrations, these words that hopefully make someone feel this anxiety or this relation rather than saying, hey, we've helped these companies. You may get to that in your script, but having that opener of, hey, I talk to other people and they're frustrated because we do more to run away from pain than to run towards gain.
More focused on the account more than the person, for example.
If I don't have SOC 2 or ISO, then I'll be focused on the person. And that I do that also with calls is like, how long have they been in that role? So, hey, reason for my call is I noticed you've been leading security at company X for 6 years, and I've been talking to other security leaders, So basically I use, if there's not something quick, I like to use how long they've been in a role. I've never seen, for me personally, funding do well because then I don't want someone to think, oh, Kayla's reaching out to me because she thinks we can give her all our money. So generally I use like how long they've been in a role. I do those two things, and that's how much research I'm doing. But on the research piece, I do that at the beginning when I'm reaching out to an account. So if the video comes up and they accept my connect on LinkedIn, great, then I already have that piece of research and I'm not having to do it over and over and over.
Something else I was going to ask is, when do you send the videos? Do you connect with your prospect on day one when you start contacting them, or what's your process on that?
So I like connecting with prospects on day one. In my eyes, video is the only like connect and pitch that's acceptable. I don't know, not everyone would see that, but generally as soon as they accept my connect, I'm making time to send those videos. And that's just the way I do it. Sometimes I'll set a wave. So Tarek from your team, who just accepts my connect, I set him a wave GIF, which GIFs are another thing I love to use. But I think I can do it either like a wave GIF, or I'll send let's say I don't have time to create a video, then I'll send the wave GIF. But if I do, I'll fire off the video and send it.
Actually, for what you're saying about the pitching on the first step, something I've realized, it's more for technical buyer personas. I think it's okay to do that with them. So you are talking about security leaders, and I know you are talking about BA leaders at Looker, but also I know that you are, I think, focusing on data scientist leaders also before. Yep. So, and with those buyers personas, I used to work for a data catalog last year. And so I was working with BA leaders or data engineering leaders also. And I think it was fine with them because they are not spending their time on LinkedIn. So I understand why you do that with marketing or sales leaders. You don't pitch with them because they are maybe more active. But if you compare to data leaders, they're not spending, data or security leaders, they're not spending their time on LinkedIn. So if you try to connect with them, ask them a question not related to your product, well, if they are connected every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it's not going to work because if they go to LinkedIn every 3 weeks, it's going to take forever. So, and I have an example of a data governance leader actually that replied to me, said he was interested to have a demo. And I say, okay, can you do on Monday or Tuesday? And he disappeared for 3 weeks and then go back 2 weeks after saying, oh, sorry, I didn't go to LinkedIn the past 3 weeks. So that's why I think with technical buyer persona, it's fine to pitch on LinkedIn.
And I think it's just like, in my eyes, I'm going to pitch in a way anyway. So I'd rather not waste anyone's time and just go in for the ask. And if they don't like it, like people do block me sometimes, and that is the way it is. But it's probably different than anything they've ever gotten. So maybe they don't like my personality, which not everyone is going to like my personality. So I think a big piece of it is I just like getting to the point and knowing or not knowing. And it's same with like prospecting as a whole. If someone says no or take me off your list, great, I can move on to someone else or another account. So I think it's just sometimes people appreciate, and I agree with you, just the, hey, here's why I'm here. Small talk has never really worked for me because I'm going to ask for the potential conversation anyways. So in my eyes, it's wasted time that I could just be setting that video and running with things.
Just to go back on what you were saying, so we are talking about when do you send the video into the calendar? So that was actually a question from David Crystal also. So he was asking when. Another question he had, actually, David, was do you choose who you are going to send the video? So meaning, if you go after an account, do you send the video to everyone at the account, those who accept your connection request, or do you have like a specific list of prospects?
I only connect with people who I would want to book a meeting with. Like that's what's really important for me is if someone's like, there are, let's say, security engineers, but I don't think they work on SOC 2. I'm not going to spend the time connecting with them. We also now, when I started as an SDR, there were no caps on how many connection requests you could send, but now there are. So you have to be specific about who you're connecting with. So I send a video to everyone I connect with because I want a meeting with everyone who I connect with. And I think those are people, even if it's not necessarily the decision maker, it's someone where the conversation would be valuable. And also think about my AEs. I don't want to waste their time, ask for a meeting that's not going to be valuable. So again, that also gets buy-in from my AEs to say, okay, Kayla's booking me good meetings and I want to take these meetings. So I think I send a video as soon as we connect. And then I think the second piece is really, I send a video to everyone and I build that into my process. And I just look at my network every day, see who's connected. And I also run a LinkedIn sequence. So that's from, I think, with a lot of people is they send one touch on LinkedIn or one video and they say, video doesn't work. But what have you done after the fact? And how are you nurturing them? So generally have a kind of skeleton sequence of, hey, on this day, send the video. On this day, send a gift bump. On this day, send this. And so I wouldn't be able to, my ADD brain can't manage that. So it's how do we create structure around something that gets us results versus a lot of people do LinkedIn ad hoc.
So you are saying that you're creating a specific sequence for people who accept your connection request, right?
Yep, correct.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I started this type of sequence last year, actually. I learned that on the podcast, actually.
Yes.
And it's so great, actually, because
yes.
you, like you are saying, you keep track of those who accepted your connection. So great one.
Yes. Yes.
We had another question about the LinkedIn post yesterday. So that was Maurice Tessier, actually. He was asking about what do you use in the video? What do you to personalize the video? So we already talked about that. But then we had a question about scaling. That was from Eliwood, BDR at Riverside, and Melody. They were both asking, how do you do this at scale while still maintaining other outreach volume?
I mean, I work a lot. So that's a piece. Something that's also changed the game, which I know we're not talking about calls, but like as I do LinkedIn tasks, if we're connected, I've actually found that people don't respond well on the phone. I've gotten at least 5 of those recently where I'm connected with someone, I send them personalized video, pick up the phone, they're like, no, don't call me, please. But if it's another type of task, I'll pick up the phone. So I'll get another type of task while I'm doing my LinkedIn stuff. So maybe I'm not connected with someone, but it's the step of, hey, send a connection request. If there's a phone number, I am picking that up, right? So that's how I balance the tasks. I think at the end of the day, I know it works, so I'm willing to put in the time. I know there are tools that could work for someone, but I don't think there's shortcuts. And I think it's really important for me to personalize the video. For me, it's, I guess, and maybe I'm just not with the times, but an authenticity piece of, hey, I sent these videos and I'm proud of the work I put in, especially since I see results, it's worth my time. So that's where I would say I balance the different activities. I usually prioritize LinkedIn first thing in the day, send my videos off and check that every single day because I know I book meetings there. So if I'm putting more time there and maybe I'm sending less emails, great, right? Because at Drata, This past quarter, I hit quota. So I've hit quota 8 quarters in a row as an SDR, but to show, and I think half of those came from LinkedIn and half came from email. I don't know the exact number. But like I've seen zero success from email on like recently. So it's how do we find these other ways where we're not having to sit in an inbox? Yes, LinkedIn is an inbox, but it's a different type of inbox. So I think it's just prioritizing and saying, hey, I'm going to do this and this is important. And I'm going to figure out the important people. So that's kind of, I talked to someone on my team today and I said, to reach out to an account, they either need frameworks or need to be a really good persona. If you don't have that, move on. So I also am not connecting with people who I wouldn't want a meeting with or who are really like edge use case. I'm doing our core ICP and just going that route.
Actually, if it's investing your time on the right people, because obviously if you're not talking to the right people, they can still say yes to a meeting, but nothing going to happen. And the second thing you are saying about you try sending email address and it doesn't work, so you want to focus on the channels that works for you. Also.
Yep, and we have a lot of people that see success on email. I just don't. I have a really high open rate, actually. I think it's like 79%, and I personalize a lot and send GIFs, but it just doesn't. I think it probably helps with the other channels because people will see, oh, Kayla, send me an email. Yeah. And then I pick up the phone and maybe they remember me, right? But for me, email just doesn't work. But I think that at the end of the day, lean into what channels works and really lean into it. So that's why I say, hey, I don't need this to be super, super scalable because, and it is scalable in a way of I have my script down, I personalize, I know exactly what I'm personalizing, and I'll fire off videos. But at the end of the day, I don't need it to be this, there's going to be no like silver bullet. So I know, hey, I'm going to put in the time and that is what it is.
So we already decided to talk about what you're looking for in the profile. So could you share with us your screen first, and so we can see what you're looking for? I'm going to ask you a question about the framework you are using, for example. You shared with me a few examples. We are going to share it with the audience after, obviously, when we're going to publish the episode, but we'll be curious to see your process when you record the video, and what's your framework, or how do you think about what you say on the video?
So if I was, let's say you were a security leader, I would start on your profile. I think this is very important to let someone know that you're not creating this for anyone else in the world. So I'd say, hey, wanted to send you a quick video, click to their announcement because I noticed you all have SOC 2. I've been talking to other security leaders. So people like you, they're mentioning frustrations. So that frustrations word around the manual work that goes into maintaining this. And then I click to a case study. Lucidworks is an example of this. They were actually using another platform, and since migrating to Drata, they've been able to automate an additional 40% of this work. This piece is the social proof, and then my call to action. If this sounds interesting, when's a good time to connect?
So did you choose Lucidworks because it's a SaaS business and AgoApples is a SaaS business? Or what was your thought process here?
So I know there's people that have different opinions. I generally just like to stick with one case study versus overcomplicating it. If there was someone who didn't have a SOC 2 or ISO, I'd use a case study about someone getting on a strong pathway to security. But for this piece, generally what matters is more your presence on video and who you are versus saying, oh no, this case study wasn't in their industry or this case study wasn't exactly correct. For me, it's just more a piece of social proof. And if they want a different case study, I can share it, but really digging into that piece.
And now that's what you shared with us. So the video you shared with us, do you only personalize on the person, but also do you sometimes record a video for a group of persons? So I'm asking you because when I was at Chili Piper, we were trying both. So we tried like sending one video specific to the company, but then also specific to the person.
I haven't done that because I truly have seen a ton of results in like personalized video to the person. And I think for me, the piece that also resonates with people is seeing their image of them. And knowing like, hey, that's me, what's going on? So I personally haven't seen success with that. But I'd be curious, did you all see more success with that, or did you see more success with personalized video, or what was that like?
So I don't think we tried enough video. So we got more results with email than sending videos. But now also the fact that you are talking about using videos only on LinkedIn, maybe something we didn't try enough was using videos on LinkedIn. We were using GIFs or screenshots on LinkedIn a lot because actually you can use GIFs on LinkedIn. And so that was wonderful. We had like a lot of great results because we were recording the website of the company with Chili Piper on top of it. So it was cool because we could send that, and that was a great way to use GIFs, for example.
And I think also the thing with Chili Piper is you guys have, and maybe not at that point, but you guys have brand recognition. I think it might be easier if you're a market leader to do that versus Drata's pretty new in the space. And maybe you were a market challenger at that point in time, and Calendly was big, but
this use case specifically, we were the first one, but then Calendly, they released the same feature. Then Drift also. So at the beginning, Chili Pepper was the first one. So yeah, maybe that's a good point. But the good thing was that was a visual product, so you could show it. So it's not just you can talk about it. So
yeah.
Talking about GIFs, because you are talking earlier about GIFs, you use also GIFs on LinkedIn. So do you use the same one to everyone, or do you have like a personalized GIF?
I would like to say I haven't personalized everyone, but I don't. I have the same one, but it's in process. So I have a library of GIFs, like a GIF that says, "What did you think?" I have different GIFs that if someone, we use Chili Piper at Drata, and if someone doesn't book time, I have a thing that says, "Hey, book time with the link above." So different GIFs that I reuse because it just wouldn't be scalable, but I have GIFs in a very logical way of when I'm using them.
Okay. And so we say you have text on it. So is it something that you wrote on the GIF, or is it like you have like a whiteboard? Or?
There's a tool called easygif.com, and I basically create a GIF in Vidyard or a video, you download it. Then what you do is you upload it to EasyGIF, you edit it, and then you add the text.
And then I had the last question from someone on the LinkedIn post. So it was Richie Monroe, head of sales EMEA at Televerde. He was asking about the realistic expectations. And when you say expectation, it means in terms of results, but also in terms of how much time creating video takes you.
A video takes me 45 seconds to create. So once I've done the research on the account, 45 seconds, I then title the video like for whoever and send it off. So all in all, maybe a minute and a half for video.
And in terms of results, right now at Drata, because I imagine for each company that you work for was maybe different, but at Drata right now, so what's your conversion rate in terms of if you send 10 videos, you get like 3 replies or more than that?
I don't know the conversion rate. I'll have to look that up. But generally, I'm getting multiple conversations started a week. They may not be meetings booked, but I am getting conversations started a week. There are a few also closed won deals. When I was an SDR manager, I was helping my team book meetings. And there's a few that have come from that. There was Supered, which is one of Matt Bullion is his name, and he's the CEO. And I just saw that they were getting interest from their partners and they would need a SOC too. And so basically set that off and that led to a meeting, and I think it closed one a few weeks later. So I don't think it takes a ton of resources, but I think you just have to do it and get comfortable with it and do it again and understand that it's going to take time. But I have seen high conversion rates, and then also the piece of having that kind of skeleton sequence where there's a video and then you send a GIF a few days later, right? Because it's not just one piece of, hey, here's a video, because I can assure you, you won't book a ton of meetings that way.
For example, you don't know exactly what's your number, but do you track a specific metric on LinkedIn maybe, or to your videos?
I don't track specific metrics. I mean, I track specific metrics for quota, and our quota is qualified opportunities. So, but other than that, it's just how many conversations. I mean, something that's important to me is how many conversations can I start? It doesn't necessarily have to be a meeting booked, but if I do start a conversation and get a positive response, to me, that's validation of yes, this does work.
From your experience, because you've sent them more than 5,000 videos, what do you think is the most common mistake you see in video prospecting, and how can the listeners avoid this mistake?
One is perfectionism. Good luck. Like, I'm a perfectionist in many ways, but in video, if you continue to record till you get that perfect video and you're just starting out, you're going to spend probably an hour trying to get that perfect video. That's an hour where you could have set like 20 imperfect videos, which are fine. No one cares. Like I did a video onboarding for our team when I was helping manage the SDR team, and I would pause the video and say, did you guys know I messed up? No one knew that I messed up. Don't be a perfectionist. Keep it short. Like I've had some crazy cool videos where like I did rhymes or I rapped, and like, great. If that's longer than a minute, awesome. Keep it short. No, and also no one cares about you. So that's why you record on someone's profile, because I do see the video where it's like someone's head bubble really big. Like no one cares who you are. They care about themselves and how you can help them. So again, make it about them and their company. And yes, you can have that piece of social proof, but don't make it about you, right? So I think the perfectionism, you have to part ways with that and just know that your first videos are going to be rough. And then also the piece of try to keep it short and sweet, because no one has an attention span for anything longer than like a minute, unless it's something super engaging. And actually there was a SDR manager, or no, compliance, I forget his name, but I sent him a rhyme. He never booked a meeting, but it was a really cool idea where I was like, what if we create a rhyme? Because we love Chili Piper, and you guys, or Chili Piper uses one of our competitors. And so I was like, if I create a rhyme, this is going to be something different. It didn't book the meeting, but it had potential. So.
No, which is good, but you tried something different, and that's also why I think video is working. So, and actually, that was the last question. So, Kayla, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate all the tips you shared with us. But before we end the episode, do you have anything else you want to share with the audience?
Just dive into video and do it. And fear is the only thing that's holding you back. If you have an SDR manager, share it with your manager. And like, if others aren't doing it, try it out. Like, it might be something that is your key to hitting quota. I've hit quota 8 quarters in a row. And had I not used video, I persevere and I know I can do hard things, but this is something that has helped me get to quota and exceed quota every single quarter.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening to the episode, and also the people, the team that commented on the post. Thank you for your questions, and I see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So for Spotify, to leave a review, what you can do is you can use your phone, then go on the Spotify app, then you go to the SDR game page, and then at the top of the page, you can leave a review. It's a 5-star review if you enjoyed the episode, obviously. And then if you are listening to this episode on Apple Podcasts, feel free also to leave a review on your app. Thanks for listening, and I see you on the next episode.